Hey artists, welcome to art class with Mrs. Ariel. Okay, today's project I think you're gonna have a blast doing. It is a food truck mixed media line and variety art project. You are really gonna get to open up your creativity and your imagination to create and design a mixed media food truck. So remember, mixed media means that you're using multiple types of art media, and media is also similar to materials. So for this project, you're going to be using lots of different types of materials that you have access to. So we will talk about the materials, and I'll give you some ideas. I'm also not going to be step-by-step guiding you through the drawing of the food truck, because I will be talking about that you will be able to have multiple choices in designing your own food truck. There will be requirements, so there are things that you must include, but the overall design of your food truck is going to be up to you. All right, so now let's talk about supplies, because the supplies are kind of endless for this one. The very first thing you're going to need to make sure you have, of course, is your white paper. Now, if you are going to be painting, you want to have your thicker paper, but if you're going to just be using basic crayon, color, pencil, marker, things like that, you can use regular paper. You are going to probably need some scissors, a black permanent marker. Remember, if you don't have a permanent marker, you could use a black marker or a crayon, color, pencil, pen, etc. A pencil, an eraser, and some glue. For this project, I like to use the Elmer's glue, but you can totally use a glue stick. And then a ruler. You can use a straight edge, okay? So say you have a book or something like that that's near you because you don't have a ruler, then you can use the straight edge of that. And these are the basic supplies you're going to need to just generally start the project. Now, like I've said, there are multiple materials that you can use. So part of the truck is going to be some embellishments. Part of the truck is going to need to be colored. You're going to need to create the ground and the sky, the background. So when I talk about adding embellishments, that's where you need to kind of get some creative ideas going. So I have my little embellishment tray, which is full of all my fun crafty stuff. So I've got pipe cleaners, I have these little wood pieces, I got some string and yarn, colored tape, I have some cool little rhinestones, maybe some sequins, beads, googly eyes, those are fun, right? Pom-poms, I got some colored popsicle sticks, some felt, right? There's all kinds of materials that you could possibly use for the embellishment part. You can even use recycled materials, kind of like magazines. Maybe you have leftover tissue paper from getting a gift, or cereal boxes, or cardboard, or stickers. Maybe you have, I don't know, some cool little mini clothespins that you could use. There's lots of different things. So kind of go around your house or wherever you keep maybe your crafting supplies or your recyclables and gather a little bit of them that you think you may want to include. Now for me, when I started doing the embellishments, most of my truck was already completed, and then I went back and I looked for embellishments that I liked that I wanted to add to my truck. Now when it comes to the other supplies, you have quite a big opportunity to choose multiple materials to use. So, of course, you can use your pastels. You could use colored pencils. You could use markers, right? You could even, use your basic crayons. Then, if you want, you could also get your handy dandy paint out. You could do watercolor. If you have access to liquid tempera paint, you could use that too. Maybe you have the tempera cakes, right? So you could use that. The possibility for materials is really endless with this project. So I'm going to go over multiple different things that you're going to need to do for this project in a little bit, and then I'm going to send you off and you're going to go ahead and create your mixed media food truck. Mixed media means you need to use multiple types of materials. Please do not just turn in a truck and the background that you did all in marker or all in crayon. You need to have multiple types of media. So that means you're mixing media. Like I said, the embellishments or the things that you add like this will help do some of that mixed media for you. Or maybe you use paint and oil pastels, or you use marker, crayon, and colored pencil, but you still have that mixed media component. Okay, so let's look at my example so we can figure out what it is that we need to do for the project. When you design your food truck, it needs to take up most of your paper. So look at how large I have made it. You need to make sure you've drawn it out in pencil. Then you're going to need to use that black marker, that black Sharpie, and I need you to trace over all your pencil marks. Then remember to clean it up after you go and erase any pencil marks that are kind of sticking out with with the permanent marker. Remember, we like to use the permanent marker to clean up our pieces. So say you made a mistake with your pencil or you want to correct something, that's what you would do with the Sharpie at that time. You kind of go over that. So I know you can't see it very well, but I did that. You can see a very faint pencil line indentation right there where I made the truck pointed at first when I did the pencil, but then when I went back with my black, I went ahead and decided to do a rounded edge instead. So that's what I mean. You can clean it up or change it a little bit when you go to add this. Okay, then you're going to need your wheels, right? You're going to design all your components. You need to make sure that when somebody is viewing your food truck, they know what the food truck is selling. So my food truck is selling fruit. So I made sure that I had some kind of logo. I made sure that I had something maybe on the top, but there's lots of different ways you can incorporate your design elements and what it is that your food truck is selling. Then you need to make sure that you have colored it completely. Now for the windows, what I did is I used the black marker again, and I kind of gave a little bit of shading or motion to it. And then I threw in some light blue watercolor, so it just has a very faint blue reflection on it. And then I threw in little bits of yellow watercolor to kind of make the sunlight popping off the windows, okay? After you have drawn out your truck, you're going to want to start coloring it, adding, your different designs and making sure everything's good to go. You also are going to need to include a horizon line, remember, where the sky and the ground meet. And that's so that we can show that your truck is parked or maybe it's moving. So you have some form of ground. I decided to do grass. Maybe I'm at a park food truck event. You need to use multiple colors for the ground. So for my grass, if I bring it up a little bit closer, you should see that I use multiple types of green. So I did some light green in there, some dark green, and then I did the line with marker. Now for my sky, you also need to use multiple colors in the sky. Now, if you want to add some other things, like maybe a building in the background or mountains or something like that, that's fine too. But your sky, you're going to want to do multiple colors. I chose to go with those really pretty blue and purple and red shades. And you're more than welcome to do a sunset, to maybe throw in different shades of blue and then maybe some white for clouds. It's totally up to you. But you do need to have at least 2 colors shown in the sky and at least 2 colors in the ground. All right, let's talk about embellishments now. So embellishments are going to be your added on 3D type of components. So I put some fun pom-poms, I added some elements of glitter, and I added some rhinestones. So you can go ahead and add, your different components, right? So if we look back at the example, you can see they went ahead and cut out some magazine cuts to add some embellishment. They also had like a string hanging from the awning of the truck, and they have these little mini clothespins with, information about whatever it is that you are selling. So play around with those embellishments. They'll be super fun to add, and you can even make up your own embellishments. So maybe you need to cut out some stuff with paper or cardboard or whatever, but go ahead and make sure you have some embellishments, okay? Always double check the grading rubric before and after you're done with the project. Also, make sure that you turn in the project completed. Don't turn, a project in where you have a lot of stuff incomplete. Always push the colors out to the edges of the paper. Really get everything completed. Next, I'm going to talk about the different steps you're going to work through, and then I'm going to kind of guide you through the basic food truck drawing guide, and that drawing guide is on the assignment page in Canvas, so you're more than welcome to pull that up and or print it out if you need something right by you. And then I will also go over what type of food you're going to want to create, and then we'll talk about all the different ways you could design your food truck. All right, let's talk about part 1 of the food truck project. Remember, you can always pause the video and come back at a later time, or pause the video while you're drawing or working on something. The first step is you're going to design and you're going to draw your food truck. Now, you can use the food truck drawing guide, or you can go ahead and look at some of the different examples for the food truck that I have on the assignment page. And you can design your own too. That's fine. You don't have to use all the examples of the food truck. So just giving you some ideas. So you're going to look at some food trucks. Maybe you want to Google it too. And you're going to see the basic design. We're doing the side profile of the food truck, okay? So you have the side of the food truck. And you're going to want to add some of those extra creative elements to your food truck to really get some fun ideas, coming through. And we have even more. So you want to kind of show what food it is that your food truck is selling. So it's fun to put, like a giant 3-dimensional looking image of the food that you're doing on the top, so people can see it from far away if they're at a park, or seeing it on the side of the road and they go, oh my gosh, I really want some ice cream, and they look around and they see like this giant ice cream cone sticking off the top of a truck. That's going to draw the attention, right? So for me, I put some giant fruit at the top. And if somebody is really craving fruit, they're going to be like, yes, a fruit truck. And they're going to go to the fruit truck. Say that fast, right? So go ahead and check out some of the different designs. Figure out what design it is you're going to want to do. Again, make sure that the food truck is the size of the paper, meaning it takes up most of the space on the paper. And there are so many ideas that I put on the assignment page. And you know what you can do is you could even look at a couple of them at a time, and you can pull, different things that you like. So like I really liked the awning on this truck, so I pulled that into mine. I like what they did with the windows, so I pulled that and did that on my food truck. I really liked these type of wheels, so I mimicked that on my food truck. And there's lots of different ideas that are out there for you to check out. And then, of course, use your creativity, use your imagination. Really get into designing this food truck. What if it was a real life possibility that this food truck could be created and you could end up selling something, right? So really, really get into your design. All right, remember there's lots of different designs on the Canvas page, as well as you will see this page. This is if you just want to stick to the very basic design of the food truck that the project comes with, all right? So I will go over the different steps, but you're more than welcome to print this page out or even have it up on one of your tech devices while you are drawing it out. Make sure that you start with, a pencil and an eraser. And then once you are satisfied with your pencil drawing, of course, use your black permanent marker. When it comes to drawing some of these basic shapes, it's totally okay to trace a couple of your different items. So if we look at number 1, it says, draw or trace 2 wheels near the bottom of the paper. So you can easily draw your wheels, your circles, or you can find a rounded edge or lid. I used a spray can lid. You can find something, a rounded bottle, whatever, and you can trace that if you want those perfect rounded circles. Then there you'll see there's quite a few areas where you're going to need some straight lines. So that's why I brought out my ruler. Now you could use a straight edge or you can freehand it, that's fine. I just like the ruler, it's going to give me more crisp, clean lines and edges. So number 2 is connect the wheels with a straight line to create the bottom of the truck. Add short lines to the front and back of the truck. Number 3, turn the short lines on the front and back of the truck into thick bumpers. Draw a rectangle for the box of the truck. Now remember, at this step, you can either follow along with me as I talk about the different steps of drawing this very basic truck, or you can go ahead, pause the video, go and look at the different design elements for the trucks, figure out what type of truck design you are going to do, right? We have our multiple different examples that are on the Canvas page. I also have some very realistic examples on the Canvas page so you can see real life food trucks and what the design looks like there. Then go ahead, draw it, outline it, and then come back and we'll talk about the rest of the steps. Now, if you are going to draw this basic truck, go ahead and stay on, and I'm going to go over steps 4, 5, and 6. All right, 4, add a cab by drawing a straight line out from the box of the truck and curving the line down to the front bumper. So that's this line you're adding. Number 5, add an awning, so here's your awning, to the box of the food truck. 6, draw windows under the awning and on the cab. Add extra details to your truck such as headlights, door handles, hubcaps, menus, doors, etc. All right. So if we look at my I've got my windows. I even have this little tray shelf that sticks out. I have my awning. I have my windows. I have my tail lights and my front lights, and I got my bumpers. I have my wheels. So that's what it means by adding in those drawings. And then, of course, from there, you're going to want to add your logo or any lettering maybe that you want to do, or maybe there's some extra drawings that you would like to do. Go ahead and do those while you have the pencil and the marker out. All right, once you're done drawing your truck, remember, come on back and we'll talk about the next step. Have fun with this, get creative, use your imagination. Okay, welcome back to part 2 of the food truck project. Now you'll see that on your Canvas page it talks about painting the food truck. Now we talked about in the beginning of the project that you don't necessarily have to paint the truck. You can use, your other supplies, right? Like crayons, color pencils, markers, whatever it is that you are planning on coloring with. So in this step, you're going to want to make sure you color everything in for your food truck, from the sky where you need to use more than 2 colors, and for the ground where you need to use, at least 2 colors. Then you need to color in your entire truck, or the areas, that you want to be colored in, because maybe you're going to put some embellishment over certain areas. And you're going to want to make sure it's all the way completed. So push your colors out all the way to the edges. Try your best not to do any scribbling. Get some of those white blank areas filled in. Remember, for the windows, I talked about how I did a very light layer of watercolor blue over them. And then I put in a little bit of yellow to kind of have the sunlight popping off. I also added my lines down here, kind of like my motion or my shadow lines of the truck, so it looks like either it's parked or maybe it's, driving. I threw in some glitter. Okay, that's a fun embellishment. So go ahead at this time, make sure you go and color in the food truck, the sky, and the background. Once you're done with this part, come on back. We'll talk about the next part. Remember, you can always pause the video and come back at a later time, or pause the video while you're working and then come back once you're done with part 2 of the food truck. Have fun. Use lots of fun, bright colors. Try to maybe have a color theme that you're going to use. Maybe tie the colors into the type of food. Or think about colors that really pop or stand out, like you want to draw your clients, your customers in to buy whatever product is on your truck. Have fun with this part. Okie dokie, welcome back. We are going to talk about part 3 of this project, and that's called adding embellishments. All right. So when your painting is drying, maybe you painted, maybe you didn't, and it's fine and you don't need to let it dry. You now need to take the time to add up all your fun embellishments to make your truck the best food truck at the Food Truck Fest. So think about, oh my, I'm going to be going to a food truck festival and I need to make my truck stand out, right? So you could use colored markers, construction paper, crayons, paint markers to add details. Using line and shape to your food truck, you could add ideas such as outlining the truck, which you should have already done, writing a menu, drawing wheel spokes, adding reflection lines to the glass, adding patterns to jazz up your truck, and adding a variety of details to help hold your viewer's attention. So your customer, think about that. You can use painted or scrapbook paper to add brightly colored shapes to your food truck. You could even create a hanging menu. Remember, we saw that example with your food truck and the awning by using miniature craft clothespins to hang, those tiny featured menus across the awning. then, don't forget whatever embellishment items you went and collected, like my embellishment box, go ahead and figure out how you're going to add that to your truck, okay? So right now, go ahead and start working on adding all your fun embellishments. When you're done, come on back and we will discuss the end of the project. Sweet, you have made it to the end of the food truck mixed media line and variety project. So your food truck should now be ready to go to that food truck fest, right? That food truck festival. Remember to go over the grading rubric before you submit your project. Double check that you have fully colored everything in. You've used at least 2 colors in the sky and at least 2 colors in the ground. You have outlined your truck with that black marker. You have added a variety of embellishments. You have some kind of logo or something indicating, right, what it is that your food truck is selling. You have your wheels. Everything is good to go. Then you need to go ahead, take a clear picture or a clear video of your finished food truck and submit it. All right? I am super excited to see these food trucks. I think we're going to have a lot of awesome creativity coming out of this. Remember, you are in charge of designing your own food truck. You can use the example that I went over, or you can check out other examples I have posted on the assignment page, or you could look up on Google some ideas, or you can just come up with some ideas from your super creative